Hi everyone, I'm Nita Enoch, Nita Enoch Interiors, and today I'd like to talk to you about art placement. You know, since we're all stuck at home right now, it seems like a really good time to tackle some of those projects we've all been putting off. Maybe you have a print or a painting you've been meaning to hang, or you just want to rearrange some of the artwork in your house. I'm going to offer you some advice today on how to do that. You know, two of the most common mistakes I see as far as art placement are, number one, art is hung too high, or number two, it hasn't been chosen in proportion to the space. That is, it's either too big or too small for the wall. So how high should a piece of art be hung? Well, the rule of thumb has been that art should be hung at eye level. Well, now that poses the question, whose eye level? Obviously not everyone is the same height, so it's much different if you're 6'2" than if you're 5'1". Now, Christie's recommends that art be hung 60 inches from the center of the work to the floor. Pretty simple. Now, if you have high ceilings, you can go a little higher than that. Now, what if you have two pieces that you want to hang together? That is, you want to stack one piece over the other. How high should that be? Well, you treat those two pieces as one. You find the center of that one grouping, measure from the center to the floor 60 inches. Those pieces also should be hung about 1.5 to 3 inches apart so that they look connected. Now, what if you're hanging a piece of art over a piece of furniture? How high should that be? Generally, the piece of art should be 4 to 6 inches above the piece of furniture. You don't want it hung too high. It gives you the effect of floating out there, totally disconnected from everything. So 4 to 6 inches above the piece of furniture. Now, what about the width of the art that you're hanging over furniture? The rule there is that the art should be 2/3 of the width of the furniture. For example, if you're hanging art over a sofa, you have an 86-inch sofa. Your piece of art should be approximately 57 inches. Now, there is an exception. I mean, if you, for example, have a grouping of furniture, for example, a console table with 2 chairs on either side, you can treat that grouping of furniture as a whole, measure the width of that, and have a piece of art above that grouping that is 2/3 of the size. What if you want to do, say, a gallery wall that is hanging lots of different pieces of art on one wall? You could have a consistent style and theme, such as black and white photography, a collection of portraits or botanicals, or if you are totally eclectic, you can do lots of different pieces in mixed frames. But before you get started putting those on the wall, lay your pieces out on the floor. Once you are happy with the arrangement, take some brown paper, trace and cut out a template for each piece. Then you can put this template on the wall 2 to 3 inches apart from each other piece, and you can see that you have a cohesive grouping and that you're happy with the arrangement that you have. So this gives you an overall visual, and you can mark right on the paper where you want your hanger to go. This is a great way to avoid a hit or miss approach and end up with a million holes in your wall. This template method is also great when it comes to hanging a large or heavy piece of art where you can't just hold it up to the wall and get a visual that way. So I like to use 2 hangers on each piece instead of 1. I find that the middle of the piece where I want the hanger to go, then actually measure a couple of inches on each side of the middle point, and that is where I put my hanger. This helps to avoid the piece hanging forward, and it also keeps the piece straight. And finally, don't always rely just on your eye to tell if a piece is hung straight. Use a level. They come in lots of different sizes. You can get them at your hardware store. Okay? Now, let's look at some examples of what I've been talking about. This is an example of 3 things that we just talked about. I have 2 prints, one stacked above the other. There's about 1.5 inches of space between the 2 so that they have a cohesive feel. I've taken the 2 as a whole, found the center, measured 60 inches from the center to the floor. These 2 pieces are hung over a piece of furniture, in this case a bar, and there is 6 inches from the bottom of the print to the top of the bar. Here's an example of judging the width of art above a piece of furniture. As you can see, if I just had this console table here, the painting above it would be much too wide for the piece. However, if I use this whole grouping of furniture together as one, the console table, the 2 Pedro Friedberg hand chairs, then the proportion is right. The painting then is 2/3 the width of the whole grouping of furniture. This is an example of a gallery wall. This is a small space at the top of my back stair landing, and it just seemed like a great place to do something interesting. These pieces all have a consistent theme, one that's dear to my heart, dogs. They're all spaced about 2 inches apart. I have 2 paintings at the top surrounded by 4 prints, and they're all hung over a bracket table. So this brings us to the end of our video. I hope this has made it a little easier for you to hang your art the right way. Please stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you in the fall.